Okay, what is up? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you on. So the podcast name is The Kelsey Show because I was just like, what can I name this show that I can just like literally go off on whatever I want to talk about? And this is really what it is. I have Cheryl Byrne. I am so excited. Guys, she's in Bali. I'm just so excited to chat. So she's an intuitive guide and a love manifestation coach, and also like everything in between and so much more and all of the things. Like she's gonna literally transform your entire life from business to love to honestly, I feel everything. But I'm just so excited to have you here. What is going on?
Oh my goodness, Kelsey, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited. My heart feels so expanded right now. And literally, this is the thing, isn't it? We get so like bogged down in like a title of what we are, but like what we all are, so many of us have just so much gifts to bring to this world. And it's not possible to like slim it down into one thing. There's just so much depth to each and every one of us. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
extra excited for this conversation because I know
Yeah.
you have so much depth about you and I love your energy. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm literally if anyone's watch if you're listening and you can't see, we're both like being like beaming. Which is so cute, you know? Like I feel like we've been like in each other's like sphere for a while, and I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, yes, love this, love this." And I feel like it's been like that for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just like, "Okay, you need to come on the show. Let's do this." Yes.
I
Okay,
love that.
can you just Yes, I love it. So you're in Bali, which is so cool. And can you just tell us like how you came about to be doing the work that you're doing in the world and kind of explain to people who are listening, like maybe a little bit more tangibly, like what it is that you do and how you got to this place?
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, I as you said, I'm an intuitive guide and love manifestation coach, and I help bring people into union with their soul aligned person or deepen in union with their partnership. But I'm a deep believer in the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So a lot of my work is really in the heart space. And when we open up our heart space, we can really open up to the true receptive nature. And that means that we're open and receptive to receiving downloads, to receiving love, to receiving pleasure, to receiving the abundance, to receiving every freaking thing that this life has to offer us. And I do a lot of this through my energy work. So my psychic gifts, I feel into people's energy. I typically see their ego or their inner child and their higher self.
Mm,
I can see where their soul is leading them. I can see the path, the trajectory that their soul is desiring for them. I see limitless possibility for them. And it's about bridging the gap from your human, from the blocks, from the trauma to come into alignment with your soul, because your soul is already in alignment with all of your desires. It's at one, like oneness, consciousness itself at one with all your desires. And it's about cleaning up those energetic leaks, the distortions, all the crap out of the way so that you can like close that gap and be like
yeah,
where you want to be. And I know you're a
yeah,
big like dream girl.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like that's literally it. We have these dreams because the divine feminine, like she wants more. She desires more. And that's what I think is
yeah,
so amazing about like this community of like coaches, mentors, healers, all of us. We're like cheering each other on to want more and give permission to each other to say it's okay to desire more. It is okay to be 1,000,000% happy with your life. And there's that desire for more. And how I got into this line of work was my life was drastically different. I had my spiritual awakening following the breakup of a very toxic relationship. And following on from that, I was doing all the things like going to therapy, anything to really stay alive, even though I didn't even want to be on this earth. Like it was just so painful
hmm
for me. And when I got into that work, I started realizing that it wasn't just the breakup that broke me. Like I felt like the rug was pulled out from underneath me. I had to grieve the person I thought I was going to marry, the home that we had built together, the
hmm
vision that I had for our children, for our future together. And when that rug was pulled out from underneath me, there was no place to go. I didn't have my home anymore. I didn't have my partner. I was a shell of myself. And when I looked back and I look back on all the patterns, it was a culmination of everything. It's like that phrase, God first throws a pebble, then a rock, then a boulder. So sometimes you'll be
hmm
broken open to the things. And that's really what I went through. And at the beginning of it, it wasn't about spirituality. It was very much around the mental health to because I looked through phases of my life and I had like suicidal ideations from as early as the ages of 6 or 7
hmm
and phases of depression, anxiety. So it was all a pattern. And when I got to unlock them through doing the personal development work, I didn't realize that I started reading like a lot of spiritual texts and I started like meditating for the anxiety, but it actually was bringing me into this deeper connection with myself, and I was connecting with angels, and I guess I didn't question it very much. And this is the thing, what I would say to anyone is don't question, just follow the little breadcrumbs of where you're being led. And it
Hmm.
was just such a beautiful unfolding. Even when I learned to unlock my intuitive gifts, I had done a coaching certification, which was wild because I was still so depressed, but I just had
Yeah.
this deep sense of purpose of I knew I was here for more. I knew I was meant to help people. And so when I did a few courses like on manifestation, just the whole world started opening up to me. I started seeing things through a different lens. And then I ended up listening to a podcast and hearing a spiritual teacher speak. And I was like, who is she? I have to work with her. And that's what she did. I worked with her and I unlocked my
Mm.
intuitive gifts. And the rest is history, like
Wow.
finding the intuitive gifts. Well, I say the rest is history, but we're still learning. Or like I'm still learning, I'm still unlocking pieces of myself, and the journey just
Yeah.
gets to be so liberating. And the fact that I get to do that and bring those gifts to change other people's lives is just, it feels so freaking good, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, yeah, I totally hear you. We have such an interesting story, like similar story, because me too. It was like after my divorce, I went into like dark night of the soul, just so intense. And then that's when I started to like tap into like deeper spirituality. And then a few years later, like I was able to channel and then like just really tap into like my type of like energy work, which I don't really chat about a lot. But it is like just part of like I like see things and know things and it shows up. And I just love how it's like there is that kind of path that a lot of us have taken. I'm so distracted because the room, I just want to like, for everyone listening, there's birds in my room, okay? Can you hear the
Yeah,
birds,
yeah, yeah.
Cheryl?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can.
I'm like, you're the one in Bali. So like we should be hearing your birds. And like I'm here in Toronto and we can hear birds. And I just like I think this is so funny because prior to like us, for everyone listening, like prior to us coming on this podcast, like we were so excited. We were both like driving, we were both getting to like sit in our proper place. And then I'm like not even in my proper podcasting area. I'm in like, my stepdaughter's room with birds, and then you're in this other room as well. It's just like, what is going on here?
It's wild.
Yes. So
I was
anyone listening to the bird, yeah, like it's a sign, it's a good sign. Yes.
I was given this room that had this beautiful sign behind me saying love. And I was like, how beautiful is this for this podcast? And the next thing I was like, no, I need to move. I need to move because of noises that were going on. And so it was insane that we both got disrupted this morning. But I felt such
Yes.
a deepening in that, like a deepening message in that of like this, whenever I feel disrupted, it's always like a deeper call for presence.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like who we choose to be in those moments because old versions of me would have been freaking out. I would have been stressed out. I would have been
Hmm.
thinking, I have the call at 7:30. What's going on? And it was just literally place my hand on my heart for a moment and just be like, it's going to work out. Like, it's going to
Yeah.
work out. We're not saving lives here. It's going to work out. We're going to figure something out.
Yeah.
And then it
A
got
hundred
magically
percent.
figured out.
Yeah, totally. For me, it's been this like actual constant kind of learning recently where nothing is going the way that I want. And it's trying to show me that like things can still work out when they're not perfect. Like I've been doing like sales calls in the car because I'm stuck in traffic. Like all of these things where I'm like, I have to do it this way. It's like for me, like God is like, nope, you can do it literally anyway. It's good. It's like you're enough, you're worthy, you're fine, like regardless. Yeah. So okay, this is so interesting because again, like I feel like so many people go through like really bad breakups. Like I feel like that is just such a beautiful conversation that we can have. Like I feel like people look at love and heartbreak like it's this like terrible thing. And although it's so deeply painful, to me, like that is where we get to burn it all to the ground. And I feel like that is where we get to actually feel and let go of pain that we've been holding on to our entire lives. Right?
Mm, yes, it really, really is. Because as I was even saying there, like the patterns, this is what I help so many people with. It's like they think it's this one person that has left them. And when we unpack it all and we see that those patterns are there since childhood, that they're an aspect
Hmm.
of us, an aspect of the inner child that is craving that love from a parent or caregiver. And when we decide to tend to ourselves and tend to our own needs in that manner, we can actually show up for ourselves in a different way. And when you do this work on yourself, you're not showing up as a child within partnerships. And I know a lot of people can't see this at the time because it
Yeah.
feels like it's the worst possible thing ever. The person that you love so dearly has left your life. And that's nothing I say lightly, but every single man that I've been with since, it has just gotten better and better. And I see this for my clients as
Mhm.
well. It's like, like people are like, I didn't even know men like this existed. And it's just like, yes, they do, because once you change your internal world, it has to be mirrored back to you in the external world. This is
Yeah.
not about like you going out. Like, this is why people say they're dating different people with the same faces. It's like literally the patterns that are playing out. So I think you're so right that piece of the heartbreak, we get to like be broken open to it and
Yeah.
fully look at ourselves and tend to ourselves the way that we weren't tended to in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And it's like, it's interesting, the like children and relationships, because last night on our call in union, every single girl, I'm like, okay, how old is that part? And one of them is like 3. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. But like, is the 3-year-old in a relationship with your man? No. And the other one, she's like, before I even asked her, she's like, 13. The part is 13. And I'm like, okay, so this makes sense why you are operating the way that you are, right? It's like, it really is like our wounded parts of ourselves. And then they're having relationships with people. And then we're wondering why it's not working, right?
Well, isn't it crazy to think that we're all running around like little 3-year-olds or little 7-year-olds? And the thing is when we act out of that part of us, we activate that within the other. So it's like
Uh-huh.
we can say something really nasty and it activates their wounds, or vice versa. They can say something nasty, it activates something, and we want to either go on the defense or shut away or close off our heart space. And this is something
Yeah.
that like I see with so many people, they're shutting themselves off. And like the way you
Mm.
shut off to one thing, you're shutting off to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we chat about that? Because like in my like life, I remember after my mom died, it was like maybe like 3 years after she died, I was driving home from a night shift, and like I like had a tendency to repress a lot of stuff. And I was driving home like 7 a.m., like you're super tired, but like, and when you're driving, I was driving the country, it's like almost like the veil is thin and you're like tapped into your unconscious mind. And all of a sudden I just felt this feeling of like, I'm never going to see her again. Because losing like when someone dies, it's such an interesting experience because it's like, okay, you start to miss them after 3 months, like you physically miss them. Like it's just such an interesting experience. And so I was driving, and then I just felt this moment like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to see her again. And I swear I closed my heart in that moment. And it's like I felt it. It's like I knew, like, boom,
Mhm.
no one. And it was so wild because it wasn't until my divorce, like the birth of my son, my divorce, my son, all of these things. And then even in the past year, my ex-husband took my son from me for months when I was in Mexico. And it was on my son's birthday that I felt I like let my heart crack open and I like let myself collapse. But that's like 13 years where I was like, and so for anyone listening, it's like I had no idea. You know what I mean? It's like on a level, I knew that I closed my heart, but like realistically, like I got married with a heart completely closed,
Mm.
right? Like people don't even know.
No, they don't. They don't. And this is the thing, when people come to me for love readings and they say to me that I'm ready for my person, and they can consciously be ready and their adult can be ready and everything. But when I go into their heart space and I see their inner child a lot of times puts their hand up and is like, doesn't even want me to read their energy of their heart. That's how close they
Mm,
are. So sometimes
wow.
I'll be saying to people, you like your heart space is closed, and they're like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I know because I've been there myself saying, no, I'm open,
Yeah,
I'm wide
yeah,
open. But
yeah.
every time, like you said, like you broke open to it. And this is the thing. Some people think that like this opening your heart space is so beautiful. But when we open our heart space, we're opening up to the pain as well. Because we came onto
Yeah.
this earth to feel it all. So the only way
Hmm.
to like open it up to allow the good in is to actually feel and is to process that pain that's within there. Like you had the conscious awareness that you shut it off, but we can still go about life and just be like, this is normal. I think we
Yeah,
think that something is normal. And it's like until you're completely open, when you have those moments, when you feel open, you're like, oh, this is the difference. This is the difference.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
can, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead.
We're both
You're on
like,
a
so
tangent.
much
Keep
to
going.
say. We can see if you're like consciously aware of like how you're sitting. I see so often with clients, like they want me to read them, but then they're also like, hovering over, their shoulders are crushed. Or even if you're having a conversation with anyone, it's like, can you be more open? Can you be more open and receptive to receiving what the other person is saying to you, in the knowing that yes, somebody might say something that hurts you, or somebody might say something that's offensive, but you've got yourself. When you have
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you've got yourself. You don't need their approval. You don't need anything else. But with this piece of closing off, when we're not letting things in, and this is what I always like to say to people, is like, you're blocking out the bad and the good. And if somebody's like, I don't want to let them fully in. And it's like, you're not supposed to be okay if the person that you say you love walks out the door in the morning. You're not meant to be okay. So what are you protecting yourself from? Because you can't go to the depths of the intimacy that you want unless you allow yourself to be open to that person. There's no possible way that if a person walks out the door in the morning that you're going to be okay, because otherwise I see this pattern for so many people. They're attracting safe people into their life. And I know I've been there
Yeah.
before. It's like, yeah, they're lovely and they're attractive and the sex can be good, but there's just not the depth there. And it's like,
Yeah.
because you're not allowing yourself to be open to it.
Yeah, 100%. I say the same thing with my clients. They choose men they know isn't the one, know it'll never work out with, so that it doesn't hurt as much when things
Yeah.
don't work out versus like the true man that like, oh my gosh, right? Especially like a truly masculine man. This is like my practice. Like I have like a cowboy of like a man, and there's no control. There's no like truly free like masculine men. You can't, there's no safety at
There
all.
is no safety.
Like in the best way. Like it's just
Yeah.
completely surrendered. And like that is
Yeah.
like the beautiful spiritual practice. And these are the men that my clients want, but holy, it's like such an experience, and you need to be just completely surrendered and completely trust life, God, whatever you want to call it, and just let go. And that's what people are not willing to do, right? That's why I think it is like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's the control. Okay, this guy's safe, this person's safe, they won't hurt me too much, but then what kind of life are we living?
Oh my goodness. You said it exactly. It's that surrender. I did a post on it like the other day about like surrender not being a passive like activity. It's not something that you just step back. It's something that you have to allow yourself to deepen into, because
Mm,
the man, of course, like you said it yourself, like it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe because you're surrendering. You're not only surrendering to him, but you're surrendering to yourself, to God, to trust that this path that you're on is the right path for you. And sometimes
yeah,
people, when they meet that masculine and they're afraid and they want to push them away, it's like, and some people come to me and they're like, is it my person? Is it my person? And a lot of times, like, I do predictions as well, and that's amazing and that can be fun. But a lot of times it's like, you're meant to go where your curiosity is guiding you. You're not meant to know. If I tell you that you're going to marry this person, are you just going to like hone in so much, grip on so much to that person, rather than going with what the universe is leading you to? Because this is a soulmate connection. You're meant to learn from somebody. We all have free will, so it doesn't mean that it has to be your lifelong person. But it's like, go
yeah,
with the curiosity and surrender to it, which can be painful, which can be terrifying. But it's around that, like, you're the adult now, you're not the child.
yeah, 100%. I think that there's like a level of like strength that a lot of people don't have, like a lot of women. I want to talk about women, like men too, but I feel like there's a level of strength that's lacking. Like, and this is what I see with my female clients, right? Because us is like really deep, like we're shifting the feminine, we're shifting her from like the hard pushing away exterior to and a really, really soft, kind of like almost like quote unquote weak interior to like strong interior, strong boundaries so that she can be really soft on the outside. And what I find is like so many women, it's like they don't know that they can actually hold themselves through hard things. And this is
Mm.
people in general, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness, like, and I guess that is just, I've had like such an interesting life where I've lost both my parents, I've been divorced, I've been through all these things, right? So I've had a lot of practice, and I feel like that's what I'm able to like really, I almost like hold this for my clients when they are going through really hard things. It's just like, I feel so sad. I'm just like, life is hard. Like this is painful. Like, and there are times on my calls where I'm like crying, tearing for them. I'm like, I wish I could take this pain away for you, but I can't. Like you have to learn how to hold yourself. And I think that once you can finally hold yourself and okay, this thing happened, this guy left me, this person, like whatever, I lost my job, I lost this, and I'm okay. Then I feel like you're more open to being like, all right, let's like dive both feet in, like let the love in. I'm okay no matter what, right?
Yeah. Yes. And this is the thing. When we're operating out of the child consciousness, that child version of you doesn't know that
Mm,
you've got yourself. She is
Yeah.
wanting somebody to come and save her. She is wanting somebody to come and love
Mm,
her. She is wanting to
yeah.
feel worthy. She is wanting. So it's like when you clean up that part, and this isn't just like some people come to me and they think it's a bit of inner child work and we just do the inner child work and it's done. I definitely was one of those people. I was like, I've done that
Yeah.
before. And it's like, no, the inner child is an aspect of you that stays with you through everything, through business, through love, through it all. And she's been with you through everything. Every time that you had sex with somebody that you didn't want to have sex with, every time that you
Mhm.
made decisions from a place of people pleasing, she has been with you. She's probably been the aspect of you that's been operating out of that, because children can be very manipulative. We know as children how to get love, how to get attention, how to get affection, and we can turn that on very, very easily. But when you step away and you come into the goddess within, the higher self, your soul, when you connect to that part of you, you see the truth. You see you're not that version of yourself. You see everything that you've been through. This is the biggest thing. The ego will trick you into thinking that you haven't come very far. So therefore, it will have you thinking that you can't handle yourself. You can't show up for yourself. And exactly the work
Mhm.
that you're doing with clients, it's like empowering them to see, look at everything that you've been through. You got yourself, like you're strong.
Yeah.
And when you clean up that energetic distortion, things happen and things happen quickly. As
Yeah.
as you were saying there, the feminine, this mixture of trying to soften. I've had people come to work with me and they've literally been saying, I feel it in their energy straight away. It's kind of like there's almost this fear to say that they want a man. There's almost this fear.
Mhm.
It's like, I've got a house, I've got a good job, or I've got a business, I can do it all. I don't need a man. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, all for all the single ladies. Yeah, that's amazing. Go you. But when you have this deep seated desire to be loved and to be in partnership and have that depth, we're human. We came here for the human experience, which is to have connection as well. We've bodies so that we can have sex as well. Like we came here for everything, to feel it all. Like stop denying yourself. You can still be a powerful woman and have all those things. And I literally have had women clean this up and boom, their man lands in so quickly. Because it's like, I didn't
Wow.
know it was okay. I thought that it was like rejecting that feminist part of me to say that I want a man. They thought it was weak of them to
Mhm.
want a man.
Yeah, yeah, it's so wild, eh? And I do love, like, I can see how your work would move really fast because it is like, again, it's just such, like, in my perspective of union, like he's inside of you, like it's your inner
Yes.
masculine, right? So
Yes.
like again, like that gap that we're closing, like it's you and you.
It's you
So
and
we're
you.
really just like getting rid of that stuff, and then he appears. Like when I met my man, I was, I was on acid all day, so it's just like very open. It was like Canada Day, and it was like we were just having a good time. And it's funny because like weeks before, my girlfriend sent me his Instagram. She's like, "This guy's gonna be here," and like I feel like that's such like a typical like kind of like union thing where like you see the person before you guys get together. And I just like closed his Instagram, didn't think anything of it. And then that day, she's like, "Let's go meet them. Let's go see let's go see him," because he was like this kind of big deal. And I'm like what, like what, like I'm the type where like nothing phases me. Like you could be the most famous person in the world, I'm like, yo, what's up? Like I like really don't care. And she's like, let's go. So we're like trying to get to where he is. They're gone. Like right when we get there, my other friend was like, yo, those guys just left. And I'm like, oh, like not meant to be, whatever. And then we go through the whole day, and then we're at her house and we're like super spiritual. And I do this like crazy prayer where I'm like, I like, and right, like you've been like tripping all day. So you're just like so connected. And I did this prayer and I'm like, God, I am like, and look at the light shining on. I'm like, I am ready for my husband. Like, I'm ready for my husband. I like did all this like energy to work to clear out all past attachments. I'm like, I'm open, I'm ready. And then she and I were like, okay, let's just go to bed. And then something inside both of us was like, wait, it's Canada Day. Like, maybe we should go out. So we followed that aliveness. And then I remember I'm like standing beside her, just like she's chatting with someone. And I look over and there's this guy sitting at a table with like glasses on, and he's just smiling at me like this like super cute smile. And I didn't like really click, and I was just looking at him, and it was like one of those moments of the universe, like remember this moment,
Oh,
and it was like so crazy because that was the night that we met. And I did everything to push him away for like years. Like, honestly, it was crazy. So it's like such an interesting journey, like how it all works. But it was like that, like opening, that like prayer, that like, yes, like opening my heart, I'm ready. And it like, boom, right there, It's
yeah.
wild.
It's
Yeah.
wild how we can, it's the surrender thing, isn't it? It's wild how we can, even though like know that something like you remember that moment, but it's like when the heart is closed, it's so hard to let somebody in. And that's a thing. It's a decision. It's a choice to
Yeah.
let them in. And this is the
Yeah.
thing. It's like,
Totally.
can you allow? Like, if you notice the words, they're like let and allow. So I think that's really, really beautiful. And
Mm.
like, I'm not surprised that that's been your journey, because I know that that's what you help so many people do. So that's so beautiful. And
Yeah, it was
even
like a whole
as you
go
were
for it. What?
talking, as you were talking, like it's just like this, like I just see the softness in you as you talk about him, which is so beautiful.
Yes, I do love him. But we've had our we I did have to go through my whole pushing him away and you should go back with your baby mama and like I did like all these crazy things and it was a journey and we're not going to get into it, but it is a process and the heart opening, it was honestly recently that I had to actually like when I say recently, like literally last week was like, oh my gosh, I still have not been completely open and devoted to this man. So we've been together for a year and a half. He has literally only just starting. And it's so funny because I did that and he's been working like nonstop. We've barely seen each other. And I'm like, I'm ready to devote myself to you. Where are you?
Where the hell are you, dude? It's
Yeah.
so funny though, because I feel like every initiation that we go to, we just open up more and more and more. And it's just a deeper depth. Sometimes people come to me and they're kind of like, but I thought I was open, or but I thought I moved through this thing. And it's like, it's our life. We came here for this experience. And I believe that we're just truly, truly opening up. And that's part of our work here, is
Yeah.
to open the heart space up to
Mm-hmm.
everything, to the good and the bad. So in you,
Mm-hmm.
like, we can only feel pleasure to the same degree as we feel pain. Like, so it's like you doing that and allowing yourself to be open, it just brings more and more depth. And I've no
Yeah.
doubt that you're going to be unlocking more and more layers of it. And it just gets to be more,
Oh,
more beautiful.
yeah. And I honestly want to talk about that like in another sense. So it's like, okay, in my world, it's like the whole dream girl thing is so valid because even once you have the relationship, like you actually, what you really want is yourself.
Mm,
Like what I had to realize when I was like, oh, my heart's like not like not fully open to him. What I'm missing is me, my love, my devotion, me, right? And then it's like, and I've done the whole give everything to a man and not have anything. I think that we've all done that as
yeah.
women. And it's like you have him, but you also have all these other aspects of yourself. And right now we're talking about like opening your heart to like your man. But ultimately, I feel like what unlocks is like your business, your purpose, like everything, right?
Yeah. I love this so much, because so many people that come to me, they're like waiting for the man. And I've definitely done that. I've been in phases of my life where I'm just like
Yeah,
waiting for him to come. And there's a deeper sense of purpose. There is part of the journey that you go on in business that unlocks more and more pieces of you. So your man can't find you yet, because there's pieces of you that's going to be unlocked within business. I,
exactly. Yeah,
there's like fears have been
yeah,
seen. I work with so many people that have fears have been seen. And it's like, when you navigate that in business, like showing up on social media, owning your truth, like your man is going to find that and find that hotness
yeah,
within you. But like, if you're been the
yeah.
shell of yourself that's completely like detached from your purpose here, because I think with women, we've so much pressure on ourselves. We have a certain age to get married by, a certain age to have children by, and there's so much pressure. So it was kind of like, I know for me in starting off my business, I knew I wanted a business, but I was like, oh, but I want to get married, I want to have kids. Um,
Hmm.
and there's such a I can't think of the word, but like, we all have the victim consciousness. I have people that come to work with me,
Hmm.
they haven't the man yet. So they're like, I can't start my business because I don't have the stability. I have people that have children that are like, I can't start my business because my kids are too young. It's like we all have that thing that we can't start because we think we should be someplace else in life. And it's like,
Hmm.
your purpose doesn't go away. This deep desire to help people, all you do is you stuff it down, stuff it down, and stuff it down. And that doesn't allow you to be truly who you are. And when you open
Yeah,
yourself up in any area, like you're talking about your heart space, you find pieces of you that wants to give to the world. And when
hmm.
you do that, you're just unlocking more and more and more. And if anything, your partner can find you easier there, or your partner
Yeah.
can like meet you there in the depths that you've gone to.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the feminine is like a lighthouse. And it's like, this is why, like, I feel like you and I do similar work. Like, you can't actually touch the man stuff without touching like the purpose and like how she's dressing, how like even like her physical body, like the weight and all those things. Because weight is also a way that like women hide themselves and then
Yeah.
literally put a physical distance between her and the man, oh, I can't go on Instagram stories because I need to lose 10 pounds. And it's like,
Yeah.
you won't lose 10 pounds until you go on Instagram stories because you're using this as like a, right? Like there's and it is that victim consciousness, like you said, like I can't do this because of this.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you actually have to do this to get this thing,
Yeah.
right?
Or I won't go online dating because I want to lose weight, or I'm waiting for this, or I'm doing that. And it's just like time delay after time delay. And it's like your life is happening
Mm.
now. Life is happening
Yeah.
now. You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait for the man. You don't need to wait to have the 10,000 followers. You don't need to wait. It's like everything, like your manifestations land in this now moment. So it's about who you
Mm.
be in this now moment that counts, that makes a difference. If you're wanting your person to come in, or if you're wanting it to deepen in partnership with anyone, it's like that connection is with you. It's with you and
Mm-hmm.
you alone. And
Yeah.
everything gets
Yeah.
to be mirrored back from there. Like you said, with the
Yeah.
masculine, it's us cultivating that trust and that safety within ourselves, within our own masculine. And then we can be free flowing. We can feel safe to be in our feminine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's like he's like the like when I see couples coming together, they're literally like the same person.
Yes.
Like my man and I are like the same person. He's always like, we're the same consciousness, like we're the same. And it's like,
Yeah.
because we like our tattoos are the same, like we look the same, like it's kind of weird, like brother, sister, but like we're like, and I see so many, I look at so many couples, like when I was in Mexico, I was watching couples come together. And it was like, okay, like I knew one guy at the gym, he was like a deep sea diver, whatever. And when I met him, he was not that. And then he got super into diving. And then he got with his girl, and I went and looked at her page. Her page was all blue, all ocean, all deep. So it's like he stepped into like this hobby, and then they connected. And then there was this other guy that was like just this cool, nice guy. And like he's the type like shirtless photos, which is like not my vibe at all, but like cool, good, like super hot guy, but like cool for him. And then he got with it, and he was like tiny, okay? Like in Mexico, some of the men are like super small, and he was like Argentinian, like so small. And then I saw him on the street with his new girlfriend, and she was like smaller than him, and like like the same like type of vibe, like the boobs and like the hot photos online. And I was like, they're literally the
Love it.
same.
Love it. Love it.
It's
Love
like
it.
it was like such beautiful codes of like just become yourself, step up, do what you need to do, and you're gonna match up with your person.
I love that so much. And something else was coming through there when you were saying about the new hobby. It's like the universe is always, your soul is guiding you on the path of least resistance. It's always going to guide you to the easiest, the most flowy way to get you to the desire. But sometimes that is going to be, it's the easiest because it's the quickest way. But at the same time, it's not going to feel easy. So for some people, they might
Mm-hmm.
feel called to a new hobby or to start the business, and they're delaying doing it because they're just like, because it feels scary because it's so unknown to them. But
Yeah.
doing that thing, taking that leap is the path of least resistance. We don't
Mm.
know what it's going to look like. Like I was led to Bali. I went to Australia earlier in the year. It's not on my vision. It was not on my vision board to be here. It was not on my
Yeah.
vision board to go to Australia. I went into like, I had another awakening, like a depth, like all of these ego deaths that have happened in the last 4 months. It's been insane, but like I've never felt so much more liberation and freedom in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't easy for me to come here. It was not my choice to come here. People were like, "You're living your dream life. You're following your heart." And I'm like, "No, it's not. I'm just following like the tears and the heartbreak." And it's like literally like, this is not easy. The spiritual path is not easy. And it's
Oh.
not pretty. And the somatics that I've done and the embodiment practices and like all the tears been shed. But like on the other side of it, the liberation. Had I known, if somebody had said to me 4 months ago, you're going to be in Bali and you're going to go for like a week or two and you're still there 5 weeks later, I would have went, no way. Like this is the thing, we just follow. Like that's your job, is to follow the breadcrumbs that you're being given. And you don't
Mm.
know, like a little hobby like that maybe he just tried out once led him to his person.
Yeah, which is so cool. And so it almost sounds like what you're saying is like the path of least resistance is the most resistant. Like that kind of sounds like
It
what you're
can,
saying.
yeah, it can
It
feel that,
can
but
be.
it's literally like
Yes.
it's how those magical things happen that you're just kind of like, oh my goodness, like like as in you saying there that you were about to go to bed on Canada Day, and
Yeah.
then there was just something within you, but like you, one of you could have easily just went, oh no, let's just go to bed, like
Yeah.
but like the universe
Can you
was just like
imagine?
something within you to just be like,
Yeah.
no, go. But I find that everybody has that something within them that goes, start the podcast, start the business, write the book, go to this place. but it's like, I can't do it because
Yeah.
all these fears come in. I get so many people that when I read their energy and I tell them what they're here to do, and they're literally like, oh my goodness, I had a dream about that. Or, oh my goodness, like I say something to them at the beginning of the session, you're meant to be on the stage speaking. And then like at the end of the session, they're kind of like, well, I did have this
Mm.
one. And it's kind of like, it was always within you. And I'm
Yeah.
never telling anybody anything new. I'm telling them I'm the mirror representation to them to show them what's possible for them. But it's literally like, you know in your heart what you're meant to do, and it can feel super scary, and it can feel
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, and it can feel painful. It can feel painful, but that's what you've been led to do, and your soul is leading you there.
Yes.
And that's the quickest way to allow the reality that you want to come in.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that is? Like, I want to talk about that because it's like this really like let's like philosophize this
Yeah.
for a second. I'm like, why would like we be created to be like so fearful of like love, wealth, our joy, our freedom? Like
Mm.
it's so it's almost like a fuckery, like a cosmic fuckery, you know?
Yeah, it is. And it's such a deep one. So, like, your one purpose on this earth is to know thyself. And the only way to
Mm,
know thyself is to have that contrast there, so that you
mm,
can have that deep hatred for yourself and deep dislike, deep disdain, feeling so unworthy within yourself, so that you can know what it's like to experience love. And I'm getting chills right now. This
oof,
is why I believe God or source created like polarity. It was to know thyself. So it created here
mhm,
and there, light and dark. There is no way source, God, is like this perfection. How can it know itself as perfection if it doesn't see the polarity? So how can we
mm,
know ourselves as love if we don't know fear? It's just not
mhm,
possible. And this is why liberation is on the other side of the fear. Because when you
mm.
go and when you walk that path and almost like jump off the leap and go and do the thing that you might not have wanted to do, the ego might not have wanted to do it, but your soul is so liberated from it. It's so free, and it just feels that sense of like oneness and bliss after doing the thing.
Wow. Yeah, that's so beautiful. That felt so resonant. And it makes so much sense. It really does. Because it's like, again, it's like that mirror. Like you have to have there needs duality. There needs two to see itself, right? Yeah, because it's like, you know, it's so interesting too, because I feel like we're so wired for comfort and safety and all of these things. And it's such a spiritual path because it's like, you know, people will feel so resistant to these things. And I have to tell my clients, I'm like, I'm in containers with like multiple six, seven-figure women who equally cry, who equally are afraid of doing the scary things. The only difference is that they're doing them.
Yeah.
Like the fear doesn't go away, the doubts don't go away, the insecurities don't go away. It's all there. So it's like, and I think that everyone has that within them. They just have to kind of like unlock it. Or I think that sometimes that's where they hire people because it's like, I'm going to believe in you first, you know, so
Yeah.
that you can, right? Which I think is okay as well. But it's just so interesting to watch all of us kind of, again, be these like children in a playground knowing I have to take this leap, but I don't want to take the leap. And then I like how you always say delay. You always talk about delays. You guys need to go follow her on Instagram because every single time you post like a collective kind of like update, I'm just like, oh my gosh, literally, literally what I'm going through. And it's like, again, I do think for me, I use the word like separation, like you're separating yourself, but it's like, yeah, you're delaying it all the time.
Well, it is a separation because we are at one. Your soul is in alignment to all that your desires. So your soul is in alignment with the love and abundance because that is the truth. The ego is a
Mm-hmm.
man-made construct, and that builds us with fear and lack. But your soul knows the truth. So your soul is already at the vibration of it because everything that can exist does exist in the quantum field. So it's already there existing for you. It's like, can you let go of the distortion so that you can like boom, smack, meet it in the middle? Um, Oh, I've lost my train of thought because everything you were saying, I was like, yes, 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 I have so much to say. And now it's gone.
Time delay,
Um,
separations, open your heart.
separation. Yeah, you're not separate from it. You're really, really not separate. It's already here for you. That love you desire. It's exactly as you're saying. It has to be mirrored back from you when you meet yourself in the places of love and abundance, because love and abundance is just the same as one another.
Yeah,
So when you meet yourself there, it can be reflected right back to you. And this is a big part of my work. Like your external world is a direct reflection of your internal world. It's the
yeah.
law of correspondence. Um, but what it was you were talking about like fears. Like I didn't want to come to Bali because I remember I'm terrified of like animals. Like this earth has been a struggle for me. So I got chased by, there's so many dogs in Bali. I got chased by a dog 16 years ago in
Gosh.
Bali, like, and like a super scary one. So I was saying to my friend, like, they were like, why don't you go live in Bali? I'm like, the dogs, the dogs. And literally, I've done such deep work on myself here. I'm not going to go out and hug a dog now, but I've done so much deep work on like going deeper with my own masculine to trust myself.
Yeah.
And I only noticed the other day, I'm like, there's barely any dogs around here. But it was like when I got here first, like all I could see was the big scary dogs. And I'm like, when you meet your fears,
Mm.
they no longer have a hold of you, of a grasp on you. Now, I'm still like, I'm still not going to be, loving going to a place with loads of dogs, but it's like the fear is different. The fear isn't as powerful. It doesn't have that much of a
Yeah.
grip hold over me. And it's like, yes, I did have a little bit of exposure therapy, you could say, coming here, but at the same time, it was cultivating the safety within my body, within my own masculine, that I can trust myself, that I can trust life, that I am safe, that completely
Yeah.
shifted my external reality. I can't put it down to anything else. The dogs didn't just massively disappear in Bali since I've been here.
Or did they? Because I really do believe we're kind of like in a holograph or like
Yeah, well, that's true.
holographic reality, Like it's like a Sims game and there's like someone who's like insert scary dogs for Cheryl. Like that's like really what it
Yeah,
is.
well, it is.
But
And
yeah.
this is the thing, like when we shift our and this when we were talking about delays there as well about timelines, I'm having there's a lot of timeline glitches at the moment. There's like a lot of timeline hopping where realities are completely shifting. And I've had it happen so many times where
Yeah.
like you're like lit up by that as well. Um I'm so curious what you have to say on it, but it's like I even had a client last week that it was literally there was a situation she was in and it was not working itself out, and it was literally I was like, okay, it's who you choose to be in this moment. Okay, you're going to choose it's not working out, or you're going to choose that the universe can provide a creative solution. Are you going to tap into consciousness itself, like that higher part of you that knows that you've got yourself, that knows life has got you? And literally, I think it was like 2 days later, she messaged me and she was like, oh my God, it was a misunderstanding, blah, blah, blah. And everything just got resolved. And it's like, you
Wow.
shifted timeline because that person didn't just change in that reality. That person like shifted
Mm.
into your reality and you got to change. You got to change your own reality.
Interesting. Okay. Because I teach my clients that like, and I learned this from one of my like mentors, feminine mentors, like the masculine responds to you.
Mm,
So he is constantly responding to you. Like the feminine sets the tone, he's responding to you.
yeah.
So my man and I were experiencing kind of like some chaos and turbulence. And my mentor was like, you have like metabolized trauma in your body. And this is like the foundation of the relationship. And so then I was like, okay, I have to go like do like myofascial release and like just like release like from my like somatically release this stuff. And interestingly enough, like the terrain of our relationship completely shifted. Like it really was me,
Yeah.
which is so interesting and probably so triggering to people listening because it's like my man is lazy and he's not doing these things. And it's
Yeah.
like, I hear you. Also, like he's responding to you. But what kind of clicked was so interesting was because like if you're navigating with one belief system and in false, like if you're in your ego, then you're in a false timeline. So then when you're shifting into like a healed, organic, real timeline, if your partner is meant for you, like you're now meeting the healed, whole version of him, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's like such an interesting way to like kind of like I'm like, oh, like that makes sense. We're just like shifting timelines with
Yeah.
my healing, which is
Completely.
cool.
Because it's like I got this download before. It was like the divine when I was navigating something with a man, and it was like the divine in me sees the divine within you. So it is exactly that. Like if we choose to see, like the universe, God is always presenting to us what we believe to be true. So if we choose that that person's a piece of shit, or that person's an asshole, or this person that the
Yeah.
stories, I'm the victim. The universe is going to be like, yes, the God is so loving. It's like, yes, I will prove that to you. You're right. Whatever you say is right. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's about like you showing up exactly as you did, you showing up different, you shifting the reality by changing things, like doing the somatic work, because that's a whole other thing, like, which is so
Yeah.
powerful in itself, because it's like, we can't just do the mindset work. Affirmations aren't going to work.
No.
Positive thoughts aren't going to work. You have to take it to the body. You have to take it to the energy field. That's when things change. And
Yeah.
that's how you make rapid shifts. That's how you change the timeline. And this is the thing, how you choose to see your partner, how you choose to see yourself is what changes that timeline. And
Yeah.
I've had it over and over again, not only in partnerships that people completely change, like they're literally like, I just can't believe that my husband showed up and did this thing. Or it's like, I can't believe my family member, because so many people have so much wounds going on with their family members. But it's like, and oh, they're never going to change. They're never going to change. Well, guess what? They're never going to change if you keep saying they're never going to change. They're going to change. They have to rise up to meet you. This is why sometimes people just fall away from your life, that you're like,
Yeah.
they just fell away. And sometimes there's no argument. Sometimes there's just nothing. It's just, they just
Hmm.
fell away. It's because you've
Yeah.
shifted reality and they're no longer a vibrational match to you, and therefore they can't be in your reality.
I love how you explain it, because it's like I feel like we do such similar work and we explain in our own ways, but I love talking to people who explain it differently. You know what I mean? Because for me, it's like they were reflecting the part of you, and now that you healed it, like they're no longer a match. Like they're no, like
Yeah.
you no longer need that reflection in your reality.
Yeah.
But I love timelines, and I love like quantum leaping, and I love like reality transurfing type vibes. So I love the idea that it's like, no, they're just not in this timeline. Like I'm shifting
Yeah.
timelines. Like that feels like really exciting to me. I do want to touch on what I feel is happening collectively, because like WTF, because I'm like, okay, I don't know if you feel this, but like, and I think that you're probably similar in the sense that like I feel like my physical vessel and my like life and embodiment is like a reflection of the whole collective. Like you know, and I think that we all are like that. But I think that those of us who are like tapped into the metaphysical, we like truly understand that like we are the whole thing at large. So when I'm moving through things and then I'll do like a collective call with my girls, they'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, me too." Like it's all the same thing, right? And what I'm feeling is like I've been doing this work for years. I've been awake since I was like a little girl, and like went through like a really deep ascension when I was like 16. And then that big, like after my divorce, like almost like 6 years ago, really deep, like dark night of the soul, went super deep, right? So I've been doing this work for years. But in the last like 2 weeks, it's like the texture of the reality has literally changed. I'm like, and I feel something so crazy happening in my heart. Like something actually big has changed. And I find like the observer within me is like so annoyed listening to like Kelsey say this, because I feel like I've been saying this for years, like reality shifting, reality shifting. But I'm like, no, but for real.
For real this time, for real. I feel the exact same. And the way I feel it so much, like sometimes I'm like showing up with clients, or like in my membership, I leave channel messages and I'm just like, am I just talking about myself? Like what the hell? But it's like, because they're in my reality, they're being reflected. They're going to have reflections, the similar reflections. So it's
Yeah,
like, and I believe also it's the law of one. We teach what we're here to learn. So a lot of
yeah,
times clients will come to us to reflect something back to us as well. It goes both ways. We're reflecting something to them. And something actually you touched on earlier, you were saying about like getting support, like getting mentorship, working with people. The power and the potency of that is because we get to see it been reflected. People work with you because they see the potential you hold for them, and they're seeing that. That's just been mirrored back to them, because the capability of you and how your path has been, they get to do that as well through being in your energy. But collectively, I'm definitely feeling, and it's funny because I was in meditation yesterday, and something was coming through specifically for your collective as well. And it was very much this vibe of like, get freaking excited. Get freaking excited. Things are shifting, things are changing. However, does feel like there's this little piece of action, and maybe it's surrender, but it does feel like there's this. And what I saw yesterday as well, and it's funny, this was going to be real, but maybe it's just for here, we'll see. But it was like this little door been open. I said it on the live yesterday. This little door, it's like almost like it's such a small thing, so it's kind of like showing me it's a slight energetic, like a slight tweak that people are needing to do. And when they open the door and they walk through, it's like Alice in Wonderland. There's a whole other freaking world there, like almost like pinch me, like I don't understand how I actually got here. Like it's almost like this people in your reality are going to be looking and going, how the frick did you get that? Like that just happened overnight, like overnight for her. She's so freaking lucky, like blah, blah, blah. But it's like literally like you've been working on this thing the entire, like your whole life. has been to work towards this thing. So I feel like there's something there. There's something people are being called to do. A lot of people listening are probably going to know what this is. Are you
Yeah.
feeling that for them as well, that there's action to be
Yeah.
taken? Yeah.
100%. And the big, like, the theme, the shift, what I feel intuitively is in regards to worthiness.
Mm.
Because like, and I'm just, because all of my clients are shedding deeper layers of worthiness, and then of course the birds are loud
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
and equally I've been going deeper layers of worthiness as well, because like in my union I like opened myself up to receive more, and then my inner masculine started to do better, and then my man started to like literally his business started to blow up, and then like that's obviously a reflection of like both of us. So it's been like trip to Mexico, trip to Niagara, like just so much abundance. And I feel like worthiness is like a, you're like opening your capacity to receive more and more. It's like a dilation, right? And so I've just been feeling like all of my clients yesterday on the call, it was all worthiness. And it's like, I feel like there's a reality being lived by people that is still in a little bit of like wounded feminine, like still trying to prove their worth. And that's keeping them out of like the full authenticity of like the life that they truly want to live. So it's like, maybe you are, maybe you want a coaching business, but maybe you really only want it to be at like 30K months. But that little part of you that's still trying to prove your worth is still trying to hit those 100K months. But if you can actually let that go and just like let yourself be, it's like everything will come in, and then also like other things will open up. Like I just feel like it's like little like tweaks like that of like, oh, I actually don't have to prove my worth anymore. I can just be who it is that I want to be. Like that's like, it feels like a like sitting deeper and just like who you actually are. No more performance, no more trying, no more doing, no more nothing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that feels so right within my body, because it feels like there is this aspect of, even if you think of it in relationship to people who haven't met their person yet, it is that feeling of, like you using the example of like the 30K month versus the 100K month, but it is this kind of like this pressure people are putting on themselves to meet the person. I'll be worthy when the person comes in. I'll be loved when the person comes in. And it's like this energetic shift to be like, you don't have to have that person. You're already love. You are pure love and light. You are already worthy. And it's almost like when that falls away, then the person can come in. That closes the gap straight away, because it's you realizing who the hell you are.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And it's like a huge way in my world, like emotional unavailability with women is when they're in their ego, in their wounds.
Yeah.
So, because technically, if you're moving from a part of you that has to prove how good you are, you're actually emotionally unavailable to the true part of you. Like that true part of you that knows she's good enough, knows all these things, like you've closed the door on her. And when we're emotionally unavailable like that, we actually match up with people who can't see us, don't understand us, can't commit to us, because the door is literally closed to the part that he would fall in love with, right? So it's like super intense, like emotional unavailability. I feel like I unlocked something like last year where I was like, oh my gosh, I see it in such a different way, and it shows up so differently for women because they all think they're emotionally available and they want commitment. But I'm like, you're not being yourself. You're full of masculine shells. You're trying to prove your worth. You're trying to do this. Like you're completely unavailable to the true you know, and what you really want. And again, it like comes back to your heart opening. I feel like there's a really deep heart opening happening. And like I'm just seeing like such a clear, massive shift about to take place. And it's, I don't know why, like this just came through. I remember listening to Dolores. Are you familiar with Dolores Cannon?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why this like literally just reminded me of this. She did this hypnosis once, and she brought this guy into like very deep hypnosis, and he was from the future, and like she was connecting to like his soul in the future, and she asked him, she said like, is there going to be an awakening, is there going to be all these things, an ascension? He said yes. And she's like, okay, what is it going to feel like? And he said, for those who are ascending, and he said what's different is like in the past, whether this resonates with me, you guys can reject it, anyone who's listening, but in the past it was like Atlantis ascended off the planet, or like the Mayans ascended off the planet. And like we were just in like Tulum, connected to all the like Mayan things. It's like there's so much depth there. And what he was saying is that this time around it's actually the entire earth that's ascending.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And then what he was saying, she's like, well, what is that going to feel like? And he's like, what it's going to feel like is you're going to go to bed one night, everything's going to feel the same. You're going to wake up the next morning, everything will feel the same, but everything will have changed.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm.
And it's like, that's like kind of like, I was just like kind of reminded of that. Like, just like you're gonna go to bed, but like a complete, like you're saying, like a complete 180. Like it's time, it's happening, whether we like it or not type vibe, you know? And for like a, yeah, just go for it.
I feel like as you were talking, what was coming through was very much like it has already happened. Like the shift has already happened.
Mhm.
And that's why there's so many people feeling this excitement energy. It's the shift has already happened, but it might not be mirrored back to you in your external reality yet.
Mm,
And that's the difference. And that's where people close off so much because they're kind of like, I feel excited. Why am I excited? Because the thing's not here yet, the man's not here yet, the money's not here yet. And they're just kind of they get frustrated. But it's like, no, can you live into this excited energy? Because sometimes I know time and space doesn't exist, but like it takes a minute sometimes for things to catch back
yeah,
up. So it makes sense
yeah.
exactly what you're saying when you think of it, like we're ascending from third density consciousness into fourth density, which is the heart space. So you saying all that stuff about the worthiness lies within the solar plexus, which is third density, and we're moving up into the heart. And this is why there's so many people
Mm,
expanding the heart space, opening the heart space to receive that the divine feminine, the receptive nature of her, we're always receiving. Always, always, always receiving, but to consciously receive what you desire in this life is you opening up to actually allowing it in, actually deepening in
yeah.
that. But this fourth density consciousness, like green ray energy, like it's feeling way more expansive. It's feeling more lovingness, like even like I'm getting emotional as I'm about to speak because it's like, and lately I've been channeling messages for my clients, and it's like sometimes the words aren't even coming through because it's so pure. The frequency isn't, it's not in, it's not a language. It's not, you can't, it's a feeling. And this is a thing, even if when you think about gratitude, um, when you think about gratitude and you can say, oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. Gratitude isn't about a list of things. Gratitude is literally that feeling. Like I've had so many moments where like I'm like just staring at the trees, like feeling as if I'm stoned or something, that I'm like, the
Yeah.
trees are so beautiful. And look at that bird. And I'm nearly crying. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? But it's like, it's just that gratitude for this present moment of just like having a piece of fruit and been like, oh my goodness, and just like soaking it all into the body. Whereas so many people are like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this. And it's like, that's not gratitude. When you're in your heart space and in this now moment, that gratitude for this life. And if you don't feel that gratitude moment by moment, there's still wisdom in that. There's wisdom in it. Go into the body and see where see
Yeah.
where you've been delayed from feeling the presence, from feeling consciousness itself.
Mm, yeah, I love that. That feels so good. I love like that example too. Like gratitude, it is like so much deeper than just like I'm grateful for this.
Yeah, really, really
Oh,
is.
that feels so resonant though, because I've been feeling that too, like unable to kind of explain what's happening. I just like it's like, and it really does feel like for years we've been working up to this
Yeah.
point, and I
Something has
love it.
definitely
Like
shifted.
yeah, yeah, it has. And that's the thing. The shift has happened because
Yeah.
it happened last, like I felt it like last weekish. Like I honestly think that when we got on the plane and went to Tulum, like that was like and I was like, oh, we're going in a portal. And then I got back and it was like everything inside of me that is not aligned with the reality that like I'm stepping into has just been like, it's been like every single day, just things moving through me so naturally, so beautiful, like so beautifully, things that I didn't even know were still there. And then I saw this thing today that was like your light body is like taking up space and like you're like gaining more light. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel that so deeply. Like I feel different.
Yeah.
I feel different,
Yeah. I feel so
which
different as
is,
well. It's
oh, I
like
love it.
I woke up at like I've been waking up really early, and it's like I'm waking up with this excitement, this zest for life that has never been within me. Like I'm excited, and it's like literally like I was dancing around my room yesterday, been like I'm so excited, and it's like what am I excited about? And it's like I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. So
Yeah,
often we think like we have to be like, but why am I excited? And I'm like, I just feel so happy.
yeah. I hear you. I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't know why. I'm just so excited.
I
Ah, I
I
love it.
pulled a card as well. Just when I was leaving my
Okay.
room, I was like, I'll pull a card, and it's so tying in with a lot of what we're saying, and it's She Wolf, Unleash the Wild Within. And
Oh,
this
oh, chills.
card is
Oh,
like just such a representation of like the divine feminine, but also like this reminder of like the divine feminine, exactly as you were saying. It's like she's not just this soft, like floaty woman that's like, oh my goodness, she's a freaking powerhouse. She's a force to be reckoned with.
mhm.
And as you said about like the masculine, he's mirroring back to you, but it's like because we initiate the masculine, we're always initiating him when we're doing that through our body, and it gets to be like, it gets to be beautiful. But the feminine is like raw, like, and so many people think that it's like, oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. And it's like, no, it's raw, it's powerful.
Mm-mm.
It's literally like, and this card is such a representation of not child consciousness, of the
Mm,
freaking woman that's going out to
mm.
there. She
Oof.
freaking wants it all. She wants depth. She wants intimacy. She wants the money. She wants the luxury. She wants it freaking all. And it's all available for you. And you're already a match to it. Can you let it freaking in?
I love it. Can you let it freaking in? That should be that's the name of the podcast. I'm like, I love it. Can you let it freaking in? Okay, I want to wind down the show because I feel like, okay, it's so funny because I've been bringing guests on that I like actually like adore, and I feel like we would be like total besties if we lived in the same place. And I'm just like, you're gonna have to come on again. Like, I
Oh
hope
my
that's
God.
okay.
I would love that. I would so love it. I feel like we could talk for so long. There's just so much
Yeah, I
depth.
know.
It's like, feel like we're just like tip of the iceberg.
I know, and maybe I need to start scheduling longer podcasts, but I think it's like, okay, everybody needs Cheryl. And then, yeah, I think that we're gonna have to do like longer, like 2 hour episodes. I've never tried that. I've never done a 2 hour episode. So maybe we can do that because that does feel kind of like juicy, you know?
Yes, I would love that. I feel like there's
Um,
so much more to get into.
I know, and I'm like, I'm like, do we do it? But then I have these birds, and then the kids have to go to
Yeah.
bed, and I'm just like, okay, we're gonna trust.
Perfect.
This was so perfect. Um, can you just tell people, I'm gonna like include all of your socials everywhere, but can you tell people like, can they, or is there a way that they can work with you? You know, are they allowed to DM you to like 100%? Anyone who's listening, please tag us on, like, tag both of us on your stories. Let us know you listen to this. Let us know what you were thinking. Tell us you had the chills, or you were like, yeah, I resonate. Okay, tag us. But can they DM you? How do they work with you? Yeah,
Yes,
just
absolutely DM me. I love hearing from people. I mostly hang out on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Cheryl Byrne 555. If anybody knows the other Cheryl Byrne, please let me know. I think she's about 27 followers and I want that account. But anyway, we're with 555 at the moment. And my website is CherylByrne555.com. And yes, absolutely ways to work with me. The best way, easiest way to come into my world is for a reading and healing sessions. These are like potent, powerful one-to-one sessions where I literally read your energy, look at what's blocking you from the desired reality you want to be in. I also have an amazing membership, which is called the Activation Portal, where we do monthly activations to elevate your state of consciousness so that you can create your heaven on earth. And I do also one-to-one mentorship as well. So reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Just even if you're just giving me takeaways on the podcast episode, I would love it.
yeah, I love that. That all sounds so good. Activation Portal. You guys are gonna follow her, and I'm telling you, every single reel she posts, you're just gonna be like, this is me. This is what's happening. You're so on point with the energies. I love it. Like, I literally, like, I'll be up super early in the morning and you'll have been live, or because we're in different time zones all the time. And it's like literally, I'm like first thing in the morning, my coffee. That's when you see me commenting. I'm like, this is what I'm going through. It's like first
I
thing in the
love it.
morning. So I love it. Yeah, I love it. This was so fun. I'm sending you so much love. This was such a beautiful conversation. I just feel like there's such beautiful work that you're doing. And I love that you're in Bali right now. And I love that there's like all the dogs have disappeared. They've all, they all came into my reality because I'm the type where I'm like, I want 30 dogs in my
Oh my
at my
goodness.
house. So that's perfect. We've
Thank
shifted
you so
timelines.
much for having me on here. It's been such a beautiful conversation. I feel like I've wanted to have a conversation with you for so long, so it's just perfect that it ended up being for the collective as well.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I'm sending you so much love. I truly feel so grateful for you. I'm so excited to see what's gonna like blow up in your life once the reality catches up. And yeah, you're just amazing. And I'm sending you so much love. This was so fun.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Kelsey.
You're welcome. Okay,
Bye.
bye.